Hi, I'm Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. I want you to take a look at this quilt behind me. This is a great little quilt and a fun block. It's called the Jacob's Ladder, and I made it with one layer cake, this Little Gatherings layer cake. Now the Jacob's Ladder is an old block, one of those traditional ones that we make, and I've been coming up with ways to make those old blocks out of the pre-cuts. So this is really fun because you need a pre-cut that has good contrast to it, darks and lights. And I thought that this pre-cut did this, Little Gatherings layer cake did that. And so I thought what I would do is to show you this, I would make it in red and white. I mean, that's about the biggest contrast you can have. And traditionally, the two-color quilts were really big. I mean, they were doing that all the time. And so I want to show you this quilt, what I've got together so far. I mean, this looks like a lot of work. You'll have to forgive my strings. I get so excited when I'm making things that I don't even have this top pressed really, and I have lots of strings. So I apologize for that. However, this is a really fun block and it's so easy. So let me show you how we do this. I'm gonna bring one block over here so you can see what this is made of here. This is one block and it's made of the 4-patch and a half square triangle. That is the whole block. I mean, this is going to be so easy and quick for you. So really what you need is 5 4-patches and 4 half square triangles. So let's go ahead and make those 4 patches right now. I have one made here and we need 4 more for this one block. And so what I've done is I've taken jelly roll strips. I keep jelly roll strips laying around because I like to use them for sashing and for bindings and things like that. So I had some red and white jelly roll strips. It can be done with a charm pack, but I'm going to show you with the jelly roll strip. And what I did was I sewed the red and white jelly roll strip to itself, 1/4 inch. Then I pressed it open, and I have 2 strips. And of course yours will be a bit longer because you're using the whole strip, or not, you only need 2.5 inches. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these down here so they're opposite of each other. So I've got the red on the white and the white on the red, and you can feel where these 2 seams match up. You've got one seam going north and one seam going south, and they nest right up there together. So then what we're going to do to make these is we are going to cut 2.5 inch strips. This actually makes a block that is 4.5 inches. So what we want to do is we want to trim these, and we're going to go ahead and cut 4 of these so that we can finish our block up. So there's 2. And you'll notice that I'm keeping those together because I can take those right over to the sewing machine just how they lay. They're all lined up. It actually is a really time-efficient way to make 4 patches. All right, there's 4 of them. So now I want you to notice, you can see the little seams are nested together right here. And I'm going to sew these with this white part pointing upward when I get it to the machine. It's going to be the one that's folded up, because what that'll do when you sew through is it'll pull on that bottom piece and it'll lock that seam in there really tight, and you'll get perfect 4 patches. So let's come over here. Move this a little bit, get set up, and now we're just going to chain piece these through. So we'll be finished with these all at once. So I'm just going to make sure those seams are nested nice and tight, and I'm going to sew 1/4 inch, and then I'm just going to lay my next one up there. Again, make sure it's nice and tight. This just is really a fun block. I get so excited when I figure out how to do some of these old blocks. These are some of my favorites. Of course, most of you know I have a Jacob, and so I love making Jacob's Ladder and have made him one. It's just a fun block for me. All right, so here's the last one. I'll get it started. Yep, it feels nice and tight. Now we'll bring these over to the ironing board, and I'll clip them apart. There we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to set that seam, and then we're just going to roll this over it. And look how perfect these come out. Because you've nested those seams in there and laid those I mean, you know, the whole preparation, it just makes them come out so nice. All right, so now we have our 5 4 patches for here, and now we need to make the half square triangles. So I have some over here ready. This is a 5-inch charm pack, and we need 4 of these for the block. So here's the 5-inch square. I'm going to press it so it'll lay nice and flat. And normally when you make a half square triangle, you draw the line and sew on either side. What I did was I just pressed it in half because it's quicker. And so then I'm going to lay my red fabric on here, match them up nice. And then I'm just going to flip this over, and I can see my crease goes diagonally side to side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my presser foot right along the edge of that crease. And so I will be sewing 1/4 of an inch out from that crease. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm lining up my presser foot right there. We're just going to start sewing, and the presser foot is right on the edge of that crease. Or line. If you want to draw the line, it's just right along that edge. And so when I get to the end, I'm going to sew off, pick up my presser foot, and just whip it around. And then I'm going to sew down the other side. Just like that, just quick as that, you've got 2 of them done. I'm going to cut these in half now, and I'll cut right on this line. You can use your rotary cutter if you want. Either way is fine. And then we're going to come over here and press them open, and we're going to press them with the red side to the top, and then we'll just pick up that red side and roll the iron back. So there's 1, and there's 2. Now, one of the things that's important when you put this block together so that it doesn't get wonky is that you want to make sure that these are pretty square. And so really your blocks should come out pretty square. So to square them up, what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the 4.5-inch line. We're going to use the 45-inch line and put it right on the seam to make sure that it's square. Now these are really nice and square, and so they came out very well. We really don't even need to trim them. Let me check this guy. And these rulers are just so handy because you can really see, you know, the lines are right there. And so we're going to put this on here, line up that seam line, make sure we're on our 4.5-inch line, and we're good. So now let me show you how we lay this out. It really helps me when I lay out this block to have a master block, you know, right there where I can see it. Because I literally have to go, you know, red to the top left, and then this red goes down. I really have to put them out like that. I don't see patterns as well as some, and so I really have to just follow the directions. So we've got 4-patch, half square triangle, and 4-patch. Then we're going to do half square triangle here, and that red points into the middle. This makes the ladder part. And then we want to keep our red squares lined up so that all of our red comes through the quilt and all of the white comes through the quilt. So then this one goes up there. Oop. And then the last row, and what I do when I put these together is I just sew each these pieces together to make rows, and then I sew the 3 rows together. So here is this one, and then my last 2 little half square triangles, and this way. How cool is that? That's all it is, half square triangles and 4 patches, and you can make this great quilt. Let me show you this red quilt one more time. I have another row to put on it. But again, I couldn't even wait to quilt it because I wanted to show you guys. You can clearly see the pattern on this. Here, I'll hold it up high there so you can see it. I mean, it just makes a great quick quilt. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Jacob's Ladder from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.